Today we're going to talk about 3 stylish things you can do when you are feeling sick. Welcome back to the Style Masterclass podcast. If you were listening to this where you get your podcast in audio format, please know there is a video version available to you on YouTube, and vice versa to my YouTube peeps. Please realize that this is the video version of a podcast episode, so don't give me guff if I don't have illustrations and shit popping out everywhere. That is not the purpose of these particular videos. Let's get into today's episode. So you may have been wondering where I went. Maybe some of you didn't even notice I was gone, which is awesome and super funny. I took the summer off, and I didn't intend to take the summer off. I had a very busy May where I was guest teaching for a lovely friend of mine in her membership with thousands of members. If you're part of that membership, you know who you are, and just big love to you all. And I was a guest at her live event in Nashville in May. And then I got really sick. And when I say really sick, y'all, I mean like did not leave the hotel room the last day and got myself a COVID test. It was negative. Turns out it was bronchitis, just in case you want to know the end of the story. But I really, 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 really did not feel well. So here's what I learned, and some wisdom I want to pass on to you in terms of 3 stylish things you can do when you're not feeling well, when you're feeling sick, when you're feeling low, when you're feeling blue. I have some clients who have chronic fatigue, and I think this would be beneficial to my peeps in that realm, but really just days where your energy is low and you're not feeling well. Now, some of you might be like, maybe I don't want to be stylish. Why do I have to be stylish when I'm sick? And you're like feeling extra sassy pants right now. That's okay. I see you too. What I mean by style, when I say style, and if you're new to my world, I define style as the outward expression of your thoughts and your feelings about yourself. You have a thought, it produces an emotion in your body, and from there you take action or don't take action. That's a CBT model and lots of other folks' thought model. What's so interesting about this is when you're feeling sick, we have a tendency to ignore how we're thinking and feeling about ourselves because we're really just feeling the physical sensations. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I want to talk about here is stylish things you can do in that more expansive definition. Because I believe style can be the conduit to your heart and mind. It's a way of you showing up in the world. It's also a way of you caring for yourself really excellently by being more mindful of how you think about yourself, being more mindful of how you emotionally feel about yourself when you have some thoughts, and then what actions you decide to take or not take, totally up to you. So back to my story. I'm in this hotel room feeling really terrible. And this is the first stylish thing I did for myself. And I was actually really grateful to my past self for having these on hand. So this is the first tip. Make sure you have comfy clothes that are beautiful and feel physically good. So lucky for me, I've been doing this work for a while, so I've had some tips and tricks already in my bag. But when I travel, I love to have really soft, yummy pajamas. I like to have something to wrap myself in when I'm just chilling in my hotel room. And I want to feel super cozy, comfy. It's also the same gear that I wear when I'm not feeling well or I'm feeling under the weather. I make sure I have what I need on hand well in advance of ever getting sick. And sometimes you can't even predict when you're going to get sick. So I have these things on hand sort of naturally. But I want you all to think about the last time you didn't feel well. If we were to kind of look at what you were wearing at the time, did it help you take better care of yourself? Was it really the most loving and kind thing you could wear or do for yourself when you weren't feeling well? And I dare say a lot of us resort to our jankiest, grossest, and we're feeling gross and yucky and horrible. I get that. But I also think if we had ourselves on our mind a little bit more often and we took care of ourselves, not when shit hit the fan or we're at our worst, but in those little sort of boring, in between, mundane moments of everyday life, if we bothered to get ourselves on our own minds a little more regularly, then we could stockpile the things that we need when shit hits the fan, when the unexpected happens, because part of human life is that the unexpected is always happening. Life is always lifing. So if we have you on your mind a little more often and we're getting you what you need to feel comfy and cozy, whatever that looks and feels like for you, then when you feel sick, you have these things readily available. So I just want to offer that as like tip number one. Let's make sure we have things that are comfy and cozy and feel good on our bodies, even if that means we have to wash them multiple times because human things happened to them as we were feeling sick. The second thing that I did for myself was I made sure that I was surrounded in an environment that was really conducive to healing. Now, not just when I was sick in Nashville and I was in a hotel room, but also I had a procedure last month, early in the month, and I had to convalesce at home for a little bit of time. And environment is really important when you're part of the healing process, when you're part of the self-care process. And it was nice to be able to be at home on a comfy couch with some beautiful blankies and my favorite mugs and my favorite tea and my favorite things around me. Now, for some of you, you're like, this sounds like a lot of consumption. So I must like buy all this crap in case I get sick one day. No. The idea is that you have yourself on your mind a little more often. So you would naturally have these things available to you when and if you happen to not feel well. And again, because I've been at this work for a while, I had what I needed on hand to convalesce, to feel better, to feel good in my environment. A lot of clutter, a lot of stuff, having to pick up, like that is not conducive, at least for me, to an environment that is all about healing, all about feeling better. So how do we prep for this? Well, do you like the things that you have on hand? Do you have comfy, cozy things on hand normally, naturally? Do you have a favorite mug? Do you have your favorite tea? Do you have your favorite things available to you? Because on a Tuesday afternoon, you decide you want to spend a little bit of extra time by yourself, comfy, cozy, taken care of. And the cool thing is, if you do that on a random Tuesday afternoon, we check in, we look, we make sure we have what we need on hand. Again, when you feel sick, when you're not feeling well, these things will be available to you. And then the last part, and this is really hard, and like full disclosure, I have trouble asking for help, right? Like a lot of my clients do. Professional, busy women who are used to like managing the things, taking care of the things, sorting things out, figuring them out on their own. One of the most stylish things you can do for yourself is actually ask for help. I mean, post procedure, it was really ridiculous of me to think that I was going to be able to like sit up, walk around, make some food, get myself my meds. Like it was just not, it was not happening. It was really not happening. I tried at one point to my own chagrin. So one of the most stylish, non-ridiculous things I could do for myself and did do for myself was reach out for help. So whatever that support network looks like for you, again, it happens way before shit hits the fan. This is a little nudge and a reminder. Before you get so sick or so burnt out that you can't function, do you have relationships in place that you can reach out to someone and lean on them for a little help? Have you created reciprocal relationships in your life where if something did happen unexpectedly, unplanned, you could reach out for help and actually receive it? So, in short, if I were to summarize this, some of the most stylish things you can do for yourself when you're sick is start to think about your self-care, your relationships, and your environment well before anything happens. Some of you might be feeling great today. Some of you might be in the doldrums, wherever this podcast episode finds you today. This is your loving nudge and reminder that self-care happens in the boring, mundane, everyday stuff. That the most stylish we can possibly be, the most confident versions of us that we can be, are the ones who are well rested, well cared for, and are part of a community where they feel a sense of belonging and reciprocation. That is the most stylish thing you can do, is to cultivate these things for yourself well before you're like being dragged and bedraggled and not feeling well. So this is my loving reminder from me to you today. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take a look around. Do you have what you need on hand to feel comfy, cozy? Is your environment primed for your rest and peace and your well-being? Are there some peeps that you should reach out to because you want to continue to foster relationships that are reciprocal, where you can lean on them and they can lean on you just in case something happens. All right, I hope you enjoy this episode. If you have a friend who might benefit from it, you can kind of see the signs coming from them. Send this their way, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Can't wait to hear from you. We're out.